This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us on this Friday. Calls are growing for more safety measures at Manitoba's largest hospital. It comes after two healthcare workers at the Health Sciences Centre ER were assaulted earlier this week. And as the CBC's Gavin Axelrod reports, the nurses' union says concerns about safety aren't isolated to HSC.
It happened here at the HSC Emergency Department Sunday night. A source with first-hand knowledge says it was very busy at the time. That's when a patient receiving mental health care became violent. The union representing unit assistants says one of their members was grabbed at the base of their neck. A nurse was also assaulted. The source says both appeared to be choked.
This is not part of your job. Having someone choke you or assault you, threaten, spit on, this is not part of a nurse's or any frontline worker's job.
Shared Health only confirmed 2 staff members were assaulted in a statement to CBC News. They also say, while all appropriate safety protocols were followed, we recognize that any act of violence in the workplace is deeply concerning. We are relieved neither staff member sustained serious physical injuries, and we are ensuring both have access to the support and resources they may need as they recover from this distressing experience. Health Minister Uzoma Asaguera says in a statement 2 police officers were present when the incident involving the nurse happened, and institutional safety officers were on scene and responded immediately during the assault on the unit assistant. This past summer, most Health Science Centre nurses voted in favor of greylisting the hospital to discourage workers from taking jobs there because of safety concerns. That was after a string of crimes around the hospital, including sexual assaults of 5 people, including nurses. HSC currently has institutional safety officers and security guards along with AI weapons detectors. But Darlene Jackson says it's not isolated to HSC.
Violence is absolutely increasing in healthcare in this province. I don't think there is a corner of this pocket where there isn't violence in a facility.
Manitoba's government announced in September that 2 police officers would be stationed at HSC's ER around the clock starting this fall. The province confirmed that work will start on November 1st. 5 new weapons detection scanners will also be installed at the hospital's main public entrances. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The community hub at the Millennium Library is being reimagined with help from the province. The Manitoba government is transforming the space into the downtown resource center, which mental health workers and a public health nurse will be stationed. The space was funded by the city in 2022, but was scrapped at the end of last year. And as Mike Arsenault reports, the new hub aims to make downtown safer by ensuring supports are available for people in need.
Erica Goodman goes to the Millennium Library every couple of weeks. She says when the city was operating the Community Connections Hub inside, she brought people there to access services. She was disappointed when the hub closed at the end of last year.
Thinking what is going to be happening instead of that? What are the alternatives? What are these people going to do?
Community Connections provided low-barrier services and crisis intervention inside the lobby of the Millennium Library. The city's 2025 budget didn't include funding for the space, and it closed at the end of 2024. Today, the province announced it would be reopening the space under a new name, the Downtown Resource Corner.
This is a great space to be able to work with folks and to connect and to get them the services that they need. And so we stepped up.
The Downtown Resource Corner offers a range of supports, including employment income assistance, 2 mental health workers, and a public health nurse from WRHA. There's no added cost for the services. All the supports are being reallocated from existing services. Justice Minister Matt Wiebe says the space addresses some of the root causes of crime.
When people have access to mental health supports, housing help, and social services, we can prevent the kinds of crises that often lead to police involvement.
The number of concerning incidents at Millennium Library increased sharply in the first few months of this year. Library advocates and staff believe the uptick coincided with the closure of Community Connections. QP Local 500 represents the library staff. President Gord Delbridge says his members are happy to see the space revitalized.
This is going to be better for Winnipeggers. This is going to be better for our community. And I can't thank them enough for taking this initiative, the leadership that they've shown, and recognizing the need for this to take place.
Goodman agrees. The space is good for Winnipeg.
I think it's very well needed, and maybe more or fewer incidents would happen at the library with a hub like this.
The Downtown Resource Corner will be staffed 20 hours a week, primarily in the afternoons, as well as one evening a week. Mike Arsenault, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Shovels hit the ground at a new development in Osborne Village today. The Ellswood will have 147 sustainable units along the Assiniboine River. It's a project spearheaded by Broken Head Ojibwe Nation. It's being called a first step to bringing safe and affordable homes to Broken Head members living in Winnipeg.
This site here is open to all residents of Winnipeg. Obviously, our target's supporting our membership, but the 40% affordable ideally would be targeted at students. But again, it's a business. We're running a business here. It's an economic venture. So we're just doing our part to accommodate the housing need and the housing crisis we have here in Winnipeg.
Funding for the project was approved in February of this year. The First Nation will work with Freedom Developments to bring their vision to life. U.S. President Donald Trump has terminated all trade negotiations with Canada. His justification is an anti-tariff TV ad featuring the voice of former President Ronald Reagan, paid for by the Ontario government. David Thurton now on the latest flare-up and what happens next.
Just before taking off for an overseas trip to Asia, Mark Carney responds to another twist in trade negotiations.
We stand ready to pick up on that progress and build on that progress when the Americans are ready to have those discussions.
Carney says his government will focus on what it can control, but took no questions. The ad that sparked Donald Trump's wrath,
high tariffs inevitably lead to retaliation by
put up by the Ontario government, has been playing on networks across the U.S. It features the voice of former Republican President Ronald Reagan. The day after it aired, the U.S. president didn't mind.
If I was Canada, I'd take that same ad also.
Then, abruptly, Trump took to social media last night announcing in all caps that because of the ad, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated.
The president, probably more than anything, is frustrated with the progress that he's making with Canada.
Took President Reagan's words out of context. Even the Reagan Foundation criticized him for it.
This is not the first time Trump has said he's ending trade talks.
I expect that we will see negotiations resume at some point, but this is a tactic on Trump's part to maintain leverage.
Some on this side of the border say the TV spot did what it was supposed to do.
It's clear that these ads are working. If you throw a rock at a lake and you don't hear a splash, you've probably missed. So to my good friend Doug Ford, keep the ads on TV.
Ford has decided to pause the ads after speaking with the Prime Minister, but not before Monday, after they aired during 2 World Series games. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
Now, the Manitoba Chambers of Commerce president says he's been trying to drive that same message to his American counterparts, that tariffs hurt both countries. He thought, as of last week, the negotiations were going well, but says this latest reaction from Donald Trump is something we've seen before.
It's kind of like a high school relationship. He likes us, he doesn't like us, he likes us, and now he doesn't like us again because of these measures. So, I think at the end of the day, the reality is, and we've said this all along, is that tariffs are a lose-lose situation. And nobody's going to benefit from this. And I think what the Ontario government has decided to do is to really communicate to the U.S. public in terms of what they see as, someone that's a former Republican president would have said about tariffs a number of years ago.
All right, let's shift gears and have a look at some images of our city from above, captured last night. You're looking at Broadway here near the Fort Geary Hotel. Let's bring in weather specialist Darius Madavi now. And Darius, a pretty pleasant day across the province today.
Thanks, Riley. Well, temperatures are starting to recover. We dipped down, not even below seasonal, close to seasonal, but now temperatures shooting up for the weekend across at least southern Manitoba, also in parts of the north. We didn't get down as low as we have in the last couple days in most of southern Manitoba. Winnipeg, for instance, only getting down to about +1. But in some parts of northwestern Ontario, getting chillier, hitting -8. in some places here, and some places did get into the negatives in Manitoba as well, but that's going to be changing over the next couple days. We'll talk more about that later in the show, but our highs also shooting back up, back into the double digits in most of southern Manitoba again today. Things remain very calm. We did see a couple showers just graze the province as they remained mostly in the States. Not much more of that expected this weekend. In fact, precipitation not likely to return until early next week. Again, we'll talk more later in the show, but for now, expect a clear day across most of southern Manitoba tomorrow, and including in Winnipeg, where temperatures get back up into the double digits by early afternoon.
All right, looking forward to it. Thanks, Darius. Coming up, there are growing calls for Manitoba to legislate universal reading assessments. After the break, what some parents and students are saying. Plus, we'll bring you the government's response. Stay with us. We're back right after this. Welcome back. A group of Manitoba parents and students are calling on the government to legislate universal reading assessments. The education minister recently announced changes requiring schools to implement screening. But as the CBC's Josh Crabb reports, some advocates say it doesn't go far enough.
Concerns over low reading literacy rates for Manitoba students has some parents, educators, and even some students themselves pushing for change. 9-year-old Blake Neufeld is in grade 4 and lives with dyslexia, a learning disability that affects reading and spelling, but she didn't find out until late last year.
I want other kids to get assessed earlier because then they won't have to go through like all the hard stuff that I had to.
Now she's getting private tutoring, but Neufeld's mom Brianna says not knowing was taking a toll on Blake's mental health. She says it was only discovered her daughter had dyslexia after a psychological assessment.
So I mentioned it to the school counselor, and that's kind of what led to her getting an assessment.
These parents, dressed in red in recognition of Dyslexia Awareness Month, want the government to pass Bill 225 to legislate mandatory assessments twice a year for learning disabilities in children in kindergarten to grade 3.
So the legislation is important to make it a lasting lifetime commitment for Manitoba children.
The private member's bill was introduced by Tyndall Park MLA Cindy Lamoureux, the lone Manitoba Liberal in the legislature. She says the bill is at risk of dying if it doesn't pass before November 6th.
We know that every child is not being screened, and we've also learned through this legislation how important it is children actually get screened twice a school year, at the beginning of the school year and the end.
The Manitoba government says it's already made changes it says are in alignment with Bill 225. Universal early reading screening was introduced in some schools this year as part of a pilot project, with full implementation across all divisions to start in fall 2026. The government did not say whether it plans to call Lamoureux's bill for third reading and a vote before the fall session of the legislature ends. Josh Crabb, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Residents of Elmwood, East Kildonan are heading to the polls tomorrow. 7 candidates are vying to become the next councillor, replacing Jason Schreier. The late councillor died in April. On the ballot are Christian Swarita, Braden Mazurkowicz, Emma Durand-Wood, Abel Gutierrez, Zechariah Salahaladin, Carmen Prefontaine, and Kyle Roach. Polls are open from 8 a.m. until 8 p.m. tomorrow. Voters are reminded to bring valid identification. To Brandon now, where Westman Hospice is continuing its push to get a care facility built in the Wheat City. They say families need the right to choose between at-home care, hospice care, or palliative care when it's time to say goodbye. The CBC's Chelsea Kemp brings us the story.
You're such a happy, positive person. It really shows.
Holding a photo of her mother, Doris, Pam Heath remembers the last days of her mom's life. Her family, with help from palliative home care and respite from the Westman Hospice Association, cared for Doris. Heath says at the time she was surprised there wasn't a standalone hospice for her mom in Brandon if she needed it.
We desperately wanted to keep Mum in her own home as long as we could, and we did, right up to the end. And it worked for us, but it can't work for everybody, and we so desperately need it.
Families have to travel more than 200 kilometers to Winnipeg to stay at a hospice. Westman Hospice President Terry Miller says they're pushing for more end-of-life options in Brandon.
We don't have hospice close enough to us here, and we would really love to offer all of our community, as we're all aging, the opportunities to have community care at home, palliative care in the hospital, or hospice care in a hospice-like setting.
The group started fundraising last summer to build a hospice in Brandon. The goal is to get an 8-room building built. They need to raise about $8 million to make it a reality. Linda Noto says the project is helping people realize they deserve options and choice when it comes to end-of-life care.
There's only 2 things in life we're sure of, and that's birth and death. And for some reason, people are uncomfortable with the talking about death.
The Hospice Association currently has $500,000 in the bank, plus $4 million in promise-sponsored pledges for when things come through. Prairie Mountain Health says it's working with the group to enhance palliative and hospice care in Westman. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Brandon.
Well, it may be fall, but Doffin's Country Fest is already turning up the heat for next summer.
You ain't nothing but a liar. Yeah, I walk right out the fire.
American artist Jelly Roll is headlining next year's music event. He's joined by Nate Smith, Tyler Hubbard, as well as a few Manitobans like Jade Turner. The festival takes place from June 25th to the 28th. Weekend and camping passes are available now on their website, while general admission tickets will be available next Thursday. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers end the regular season at home tomorrow afternoon. The Blue and Gold face the Montreal Alouettes at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Saturday's sellout means they have now sold out every regular season home game for the first time in team history. It's also their 14th consecutive sellout. The Bombers clinched a spot in the playoffs in last week's narrow win over Saskatchewan. All right, so lots going on this weekend, including that Winnipeg Blue Bombers game. Let's bring back Darius Madavi now with a look at our Manitoba forecast.
Well, Riley, I have to say, I know it's a bit of a tradition for you to talk about the fall suppers coming up on the weekend on Fridays. And I have to say, as somebody who grew up in Ontario and now lives in BC, this isn't something that I was really familiar with. But I mean, I think it's great. What a fantastic way to build community. Now, the conditions look pretty good as we head into the weekend. We do have some gusty winds coming across southern Manitoba and parts of northeastern Manitoba. But other than that, I mean, we're dry. We have some cloud building in places. We'll see that coming in and out throughout the weekend, mostly on Sunday, but we'll probably see some cloud later on Saturday as well. But temperatures up in the mid-teens, well above seasonal for this time of year. Seems like a great time to be out. Yeah, I hope everybody has a great time. Now, let's talk about those gusty winds because, again, moving throughout southern Manitoba up into the more central parts of the province, as well as up in the northeast. There are gusty winds, gusting up to 75 kilometers per hour for Churchill. In Winnipeg, gusting up to 60 kilometers per hour. I will say we could even see above that. That is going to be happening throughout the day on Saturday. Once we get into the overnight period, Saturday into Sunday, we may see it back off a little bit for some places, like here we go, up in the northeast, but they will hold into Sunday for the more southern parts of Manitoba. So be ready for, again, some gusty conditions, something that I know the prairies are very familiar with, but definitely something to be aware of, especially because everything else this weekend seems pretty pleasant. I mean, we're not entirely sunny, but we've got plenty of sun. We've got temperatures that are well above seasonal. They will start to come back down as we head into the end of the weekend and early next week. But for now, enjoy those nice warm conditions. We have, there we go again, up in the mid-teens to high teens in southern Manitoba. Up in the north, up around 10 degrees. Overall, very pleasant time. Let's talk a little bit about precipitation now as well, though. We have this low pressure coming in from the west, high pressure down to the east and the southeast. So that is causing those gusty winds, of course, as that air tries to move to the area of lower pressure. But as we get into the end of the weekend, we're also going to see that cloud start to move through and that precipitation grazing parts of the province really starting to build in force as we get into Monday. So if we look at our accumulation graphic here, you'll see nothing, 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 and nothing until we get into Monday, and then we start to see a little bit of that build in. Now, we have a 3-day forecast here for Winnipeg. Very pleasant, very nice. We'll see that cloud build in as we get into the end of the weekend. Some showers start overnight Sunday into Monday, and we'll have more 7-day later in the show.
Okay, thank you so much, Darius. All right, more shots of our city. As we head to break, we have more to come right after this. Stay with us. Toronto is a hub of excitement tonight with Game 1 of this year's World Series taking over the city. The Blue Jays are preparing to square off against the powerhouse LA Dodgers. The heavily favored Dodgers are in search of back-to-back titles, but the Jays are hoping to dethrone them. Jamie Strachan sets things up from the Rogers Centre.
The day has finally arrived, the first World Series game north of the border since 1993. The final touches being put on the field. The final rehearsals as the eyes of the baseball world will be focused on Toronto. Game 1 between the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are looking to win back-to-back World Series championships. A massive international media delegation has descended upon Toronto. The biggest focus, Dodgers superstar Shohei Ohtani.
I think we're talking about a totally different kind of animal here that can do things on the field that not many people can do.
For Blue Jay fans, the team's miraculous season has ignited baseball fever here in Toronto and across the country.
I'm so pumped, that's why I'm here.
World Series merch has been flying off the shelves, and fans are embracing what has been an unexpected march to the World Series.
I'm anxious, but in like the best way. It's all excitement. I'm so proud, and I'm just excited to see what's going to happen.
The players nervous, but excited about what could be a once-in-a-career opportunity.
The pressure will kind of go away when you're in the moment. But, you know, it's great to have a whole country kind of behind you, and it's not just a city.
You don't know how many times you'll make it to the World Series in your life. Some people never do, so a lot of people never do. So I think just being super grateful for our opportunity and taking advantage of it by preparing the best you can and going out there and competing.
And a swing and a fly ball to left field. Despite winning more games than the Dodgers, the Jays are underdogs in this series. A role the team relishes.
I think there's so many different scenarios that you could look to throughout the season, big moments, big hits that had a huge part in us maybe getting out of a rut or continuing a hot streak.
And a big boost for the Jays heading into Game 1. After missing the first 2 rounds of the playoffs with a knee injury, all-star infielder Bo Bichette is back. Good news for Blue Jay fans. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, so this is a day that so many Toronto Blue Jays fans have been waiting for. The first time in more than 3 decades that the team is in the Fall Classic, and the excitement in the city, as you saw there, is at a fever pitch for Canada's team. Shehan Desjardins checks in with new fans and those old enough to remember the Jays' last championships.
Parents remember this song well. Now their kids are learning it too. It's Okay Blue Jays, a hit song when the team was in the World Series more than 30 years ago, before these students were even born. But they are certainly ready this time.
I think it's a really big moment, and I hope they win.
My hope is that she's going to be able to experience that feeling of winning the World Series.
David Bayless knows that feeling well.
Here we have the signed, personalized, great catch, David.
He was 13 in 1993. Game 6, Paul Molitor hits a homer in the bottom of the 5th, right into Bayless's hand.
Nothing would have inspired me to sell that ball at the time. Certainly one of my, if not my prized possession.
When the Jays won, fans ruled the streets.
We screamed and screamed and screamed, and the next day I could hardly swallow. And I will thank the Blue Jays because that is the day that I quit smoking.
Sparking life into peculiar traditions.
I love that car, actually. Great car. But, yeah, paint the car, like, let's go.
If history repeats, they plan to get in on the action again and hope the next generation helps keep that fire alive. These young fans seem more than capable, with Jays' pride burning maybe even brighter than it did some 30 years ago. Shehan Desjardins, CBC News, Toronto.
So let's go from that excitement and all of that loud cheering to the tiniest Toronto Blue Jays tribute. Taking center stage at Legoland Discovery Centre, one master builder crafted a Blue Jay and a stadium, each built from hundreds of Lego bricks and packed with minifigure fans. The display sits in Miniland, a miniature cityscape of Toronto made from more than 500,000 Lego pieces. All right, let's turn our attention to some other news tonight. Rehab facilities are often touted as the way out of addiction. But a Fifth Estate investigation has found a patchwork of unregulated for-profit treatment centers operating with little to no oversight. As Stephen D'Souza explains, critics say that puts vulnerable clients at risk.
Massages, sauna, hot tub, in the woods, it's a cabin. Michelin star chef, that's what
Emily Bogan says the promise was enticing. Treatment for her drug use and Lyme disease from a team of professionals in an idyllic setting. The reality, though?
The clients there called it a crack house.
She and her mother had found Nomina Wellness on Vancouver Island. They say based on online photos, they expected a luxury mountain retreat. Instead, she ended up here. She says Nomina co-owner Lisa Calco promised professional treatment, but Bogan says some sessions were run by untrained staff, and she wasn't treated for Lyme disease. She paid more than $33,000 for 3 weeks, but others told the Fifth Estate they paid $60,000 and more. What did Lisa care about?
Getting people to come to Nomina. Money.
It's appalling. It's shocking.
Some experts say her experience is part of a bigger problem with private residential treatment centers across much of Canada. There are no standards of care, little government oversight, and critics warn it's putting lives at risk.
When you take your vulnerable 19-year-old or 20-year-old to a private residential treatment center, there is no oversight body. There are no standards.
Just Alberta and Quebec regulate private residential treatment centers. BC only regulates those that register with the province. Nomina does not appear on any registries in BC. The Fifth Estate has learned that a 27-year-old man died at Nomina from a fentanyl overdose in October 2024. We found inconsistencies in the staff's response, including questions about whether naloxone, the potentially life-saving opioid overdose reversal drug, was available at the time. The BC Coroner's Office is now reviewing information the Fifth Estate provided.
He was just such a young, beautiful person. I mean, he just had so much potential.
We contacted Lisa Calco at Nomina. She declined an interview, but in an email said their website accurately captures what they offer, including facilities, and says clients voluntarily enroll in their programs, and Nomina is transparent about how things work. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Toronto.
You can watch the full Fifth Estate Dying to Recover episode tonight at 9 p.m. on CBC Television and GEM, or stream it on YouTube now. It is a go-to health information source for millions, but a marketplace investigation reveals TikTok is rife with false and sometimes dangerous treatment claims. Asha Tomlinson now on the bad advice and the potentially harmful consequences.
These students say they scroll Dr. TikTok for medical advice often.
I do listen to what they have to say.
But we searched 2 popular health topics, autism and cancer, then analyzed 200 TikTok videos featuring a cure or treatment for them. We found 80%, that's totaling 75 million views, were not backed by solid science. Some were outright dangerous, according to our experts. Like this video posted by a chiropractor promoting chelation therapy for autism. It's an IV treatment that removes heavy metals from the body.
I've had patients in the past before they got to me who had severe speech delay that made great strides.
This autism researcher and pediatrician warns against it.
Heavy metals are not a contributor to autism. There is a risk of death that comes with these treatments.
And there's this video of actor Mel Gibson on Joe Rogan's podcast.
I have 3 friends. All 3 of them had stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have cancer right now at all. And they had some serious stuff going on.
And what did they take? Ivermectin? Fenbendazole?
Ivermectin is an anti-parasitic drug. Fenbendazole, a dog dewormer. Oncologist Dr. Abba Gupta's take?
It's complete garbage. If we truly thought that any of these agents had any merit, we would be doing clinical trials in them. But there is no merit.
We contacted Mel Gibson for comment. He gave us a polite pass and no response from the chiropractor pushing chelation therapy. TikTok says it takes action when content violates its guidelines, and it warns users not to rely on the platform for medical advice. Most of the videos we flagged have now been taken down. And after seeing what we found, these students say they'll now think twice before trusting Dr. TikTok.
For those life-threatening, more serious stuff, always go to doctor. Don't trust social media.
Asha Tomlinson, CBC News, Toronto.
And if you want to catch this full investigation, you can watch Marketplace investigating Dr. TikTok. That is at 7 p.m. on CBC Television and CBC Gem. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says back-to-work legislation is coming Monday, seeking to end the province-wide teacher strike after almost a month. Teachers and supporters from across the province held a huge rally outside the Alberta Legislature on Thursday. More than 50,000 teachers have been on strike since October the 6th. The government served formal notice that it will be introducing its Back to School Act. In a statement to CBC News, the teachers union says while they expected the government would introduce back to work legislation, it needs to see the bill to know what it actually means for teachers. Now, coming up, a pop of color added to a building in Winnipeg's West End. We'll bring you more on this mural that was unveiled today and the significance of the names on it. Canadian-made technology is helping some children living with mobility issues take their first steps. A generous donor recently funded the building of a costly robotic walker for a Regina nonprofit, the first of its kind in Saskatchewan. The CBC's Katie Swires was there when a toddler tried it for the first time.
If we have enough ground contact, he can move the whole thing himself.
When he was 6 months old, Leo was diagnosed with a rare genetic disorder which affects his mobility.
All right, we're gonna spin around here, Leo.
But now, with each step he takes, the 3-year-old is doing something a doctor once told his family would be impossible.
He can walk, be part of like everybody else, like walk like other kids. So it's unique.
This was Leo's first time in the mobility device.
He did amazing. I'm like, I have butterflies. I'm like, I can't believe there's a thing even exists.
It's called Trexo, a Canadian-made robotic exoskeleton. Motors at the hip and knees can detect how a child is doing in the walker and assist them as needed, either fully helping them walk or just correcting their steps. Unlike some robotic walkers, this one allows a child's feet to touch the ground.
It's better for bones, it's better for feedback for the child. I mean, imagine if you or I were wandering around on clouds of air, what would that feel like? It wouldn't give as much feedback to us.
The walker can help children with a variety of conditions, from spinal cord injuries to cerebral palsy, but it comes with a hefty price tag.
The clinical version, which we received as a gift, was $100,000. So we could never buy one on our own. The only reason we have one is because of the goodness out of somebody's heart.
This is the only Trexo walker in the province, and First Steps Wellness Center wants you to contact them if you're interested in using it. They're offering free assessments.
And we have no wait list. So the beautiful part about us being a nonprofit charity is we just work to serve the people. So however many want to come use it, we can. I mean, the thing's got to charge a bit, so probably about 6 hours a day we could run it.
Leo's family is grateful they are able to use the new technology.
He does a few steps right now by himself, and with that Trexo, I'm pretty sure he will be able to do more steps in the future once we start using it more often.
And now, other families will be able to do the same. Katie Swires, CBC News, Regina.
A new mural was unveiled today in Winnipeg's West End. It pays tribute to Nellie McClung and 150 women in our province. I caught up earlier with Take Pride Winnipeg to find out more. So we're here in the West End, the busy corner of Sargent and Arlington today, where a new mural has been unveiled. I'm here with Tom Ethans from Take Pride Winnipeg. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tell me what we're looking at behind us here.
Well, this is a phenomenal mural done by the Nellie McClung Foundation. Decided that they wanted to highlight 150 women who have helped to make a difference in Manitoba. And so they got the artist Mandy Van Leeuwen, and she had some great helpers, and they put together this mural with 150 names, and they're all glued on there. So it's kind of interesting to see all the different names of all the different people that have helped to be trailblazers in our province.
I was just going to ask, what's the significance of having the 150 names up on display here for everyone?
150 years, and so they thought this would be a good time to showcase all the wonderful women that have gone out to make a difference in Manitoba.
Why this location?
You know what, this is a very vibrant location, and I thought we need something with a good wall where a lot of people will be able to see it as they drive by, and then all the other people that want to come and stop and see the mural will be able to get up close, and Chirito's Beauty Salon, who let us put the mural up on their wall, they're fantastic, they are so helpful. And so getting West End Biz and the West End Resource Center, Take Pride Winnipeg, and Nellie McClung Foundation, just fantastic, all the help that we've received.
What should people take away from just like even standing across the street here and looking at something like this?
I think what people need to see is that Winnipeggers and Manitobans should be very proud of the fact that we have so many incredible women that have helped to mold our province to what it is today.
Right, and this is not the first mural for Nellie McClung and for the women in this part of the city.
No, there is another one further down on Sargent, and Nellie McClung obviously was famous in trying to help Manitoba get the vote back many years ago. And so she's a very important person, and so the Nellie McClung Foundation has maintained that focus for showcasing how important the women are of our province.
Right. And I was going to say, what does it mean to have her memorialized like this on such a busy street corner in the West End here?
I think it is just a testament to what we see and what we need people to understand how important everybody is in making Manitoba a better place.
All right, Tom, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, so a sunny day today into a clear sky tonight, a bit breezy out there, 9 degrees. Let's bring back weather specialist Darius Madavi now with a look at our forecast.
Yeah, I have to say, Riley, you don't make it easy to fill in for you. I mean, it's a lot to live up to, but also this is the hardest part of the job for sure, choosing who gets featured on the dog walking forecast or Feline Friday. Today, I've selected Pickle. Thank you, Danielle, for sending in this adorable photo of Pickle. Genuinely made me laugh, but it was so hard to choose. There were so many great photos. So, I mean, I'll say it on behalf of Riley. Thank you, everybody, for sending those in. Tomorrow, beautiful day to be outside. Enjoy if you're out walking your dog or your cat. And I know that the vibe of this cat doesn't really match the vibe of Pickle, but we take what we can get, right? Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, what we're looking at compared to average. Today, we've seen temperatures well above normal for this time of year, but nowhere near the record high. Similar situation in terms of the low. Again, we've seen those temperatures start to creep back up, but we got just towards seasonal before we see them climb again. And as we get into the beginning of next week, we'll see them return back down closer to seasonal once more. We'll see more of that once we look at the 7-day forecast for Winnipeg. But if we look province-wide, we're going to see, again, some relatively clear skies tonight. If anything, I think this is maybe overstating the amount of cloud in southern Manitoba a little bit, these icons. But as we look to tomorrow, we're going to see more of that cloud build in, especially to the more northern parts of the province. Down in the south, less of it, but there we go. Temperatures up around 10 degrees once again. Many places seeing a little bit higher than that. This graphic, of course, not showing those gusty winds that we're going to see, especially in the northeastern sections of the province. And then down in the south, pretty similar picture. Again, this cloud very intermittent, nothing much at all. But as we get into Sunday, we'll start to see more of that cloud. And now, Riley, I know I mentioned, you have your traditions on Fridays, Feline Friday, the fall suppers. But here in Vancouver, we have our own tradition on Fridays, which is called Fun Fact Friday. And so I wanted to share that with you. We, of course, are going to talk about the Blue Jays today, because what else is anybody talking about? Blue Jays. Really great bird. I know we're familiar in Eastern Canada. But did you know that blue jays are part of the Corvidae family, the same family as crows and ravens, magpies, some really, really smart birds, often considered the smartest family of birds. So they are corvids. And earlier this year, for the first time, a research paper came out where researchers observed a blue jay using a piece of bark as a tool to try and catch a spider, which it did successfully do. So blue jays, smart. Maybe a bit annoying sounding, but smart. Riley?
Okay, thanks, Darius. I'll file that into things I definitely did not know going into the job today. For nearly 70 years, one family has owned the bakery in Wadena, Saskatchewan. They've baked millions of donuts and have become famous for one special cream-filled pastry. Well, now they are passing on their recipes and the bakery to some new owners. Colleen Silverthorne brings us that story.
The Wadena Bakery has been a mainstay in town for decades. For a while, the future of the beloved business was uncertain. Its owners had hoped to retire, but they were having trouble finding a baker to take over.
We didn't want to just walk away from it and leave an empty building. And this place is important to this town.
The Suicks bought the bakery from Steve's father 48 years ago. At 70, they're ready to hang up their aprons. Soon they can. They've finally found a new family to take over. The new owners moved from India 3 years ago. They're learning all of Steve and Margaret's secret recipes. And they don't plan on changing anything, even the 3 a.m. starting time.
All the recipes the same
no
recipe.
changes anyone.
No change any recipe and procedure.
That's great news to customers who come from across Saskatchewan and the country to try the bakery's famous Boston cream donut.
They're delicious.
The donuts. They're so good.
Never had better.
Everyone has a theory about what makes the donuts so good. But the people who know that secret aren't about to tell.
I'd have to kill you if I told you.
No. Nothing.
Not telling?
No ask again. No more questions.
It's secret.
About it.
Once Margaret and Steve retire for good, they're hoping to spend more time traveling and with family. And just maybe, sleeping in. Colleen Silverthorne, CBC News, Wadena.
I can almost smell the donuts from here. Coming up after the break, cats and books. What more could you ask for? We'll have more on that coming up in our Daily Lift today. Stay with us.
Well, Riley, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we've got a pleasant weekend across most of Manitoba. We do have those gusty winds to watch out for, which here, these are consistent wind speeds, not the gusts. The gusts much higher than this, of course. But as we look to the beginning of next week, we do have some showers moving in. Those will mostly be present grazing parts of Manitoba, moving across parts of Manitoba Sunday night into Monday. But for the more southern areas, most likely seeing that late Monday into Tuesday, and then we get back to some sunshine, but temperatures much closer to seasonal. So for now, soak up the warm temperatures, soak up the sunshine, watch out for those gusty winds, and have a great weekend. Riley?
Great advice. Thank you, Darius. Thanks for the past few days. Brittany is back with us here on Monday, which means I'll be over on the other side of the desk, over there. A bookstore in Nova Scotia is attracting more than just book lovers. It has found success by also adopting cats and kittens. The CBC's Cassidy Chisholm has our daily lift.
This isn't your typical used bookstore. At Otis and Clementine's Books and Coffee, customers are often greeted by cats or kittens when they walk through the door. So while people browse the bookshelves, they can also consider adopting a new furry friend.
People love cats and a lot of people love books, and so many people love both of those things. It made it a much more compelling visit. You know, I will drive from Halifax to Tantallon if there's cats and books, of course.
The store opened in 2011, but only started fostering in 2019. Since then, Helmke says the store has found homes for about 280 cats.
They come, they're here for a few days, they're adopted. So as long as there are cats that need homes, I would love to surpass 300. I would love to surpass 350 in 2026.
The store has been working with Spay Day HRM to get cats adopted.
We've had kittens literally leave here within hours. The hours, like, yeah. She posts them and then they're adopted. It's just amazing.
The store has been especially helpful in adopting out adult cats. Helmke says that's because customers are able to meet the cats in a more comfortable setting, where their personalities can shine.
Kittens are easy to home and easy to please, but when an adult cat has found their new forever home and I hear about it, I love it.
Cassidy Chisholm, CBC News, Upper Tantallon.
Very cute, and I have a feeling that's something my mom would like. Speaking of my mom, it was her birthday yesterday. It's my dad's today. Happy birthday, Dad. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you again on Monday. Good night.